The preparation for that set nearly broke me. There's often a lot of self-doubt with me specifically. I actually thought I was going to be a trance DJ. So said rising tides lift all boats. I was really, really scared to make that leap into production.
Let's go behind the decks. The beat. The grind. The story. Discover the raw truth and dreams of our Northern California EDM DJs.
NorCal EDM News and Media is a Northern California-based digital platform dedicated to helping local promoters, venues, and artists get seen, heard, and remembered through authentic, community-focused media. We appreciate you being here.
Today, we travel to beautiful Nevada County to talk with Pixxie.
And be sure to stay with us to the end of the video where we showcase Pixxie's latest track, Dawn of Lilith.
So we know what your wheelhouse is, what genre you like, but why don't you tell the people about it?
Yeah, so I found my love of organic house music.
Organic house is groove-driven electronic music that uses natural instruments, textured percussion, and emotional atmospheres to create a deep, flowing, and grounded feeling, often inspired by nature, ritual, and global sounds.
So I found organic house through Anjuna. Actually, it was my gateway into organic.
For many of us.
Yes. So when I first started DJing, I actually thought I was going to be a trance DJ. So I was really into Anjuna beats, and then I segued into Anjuna deep. And then from there were a few artists that were signed. They had like 1 or 2 releases on Anjuna deep, and then they had their whole other vibe going on with their organic house record labels. So some of those artists were Bolin Sentier, Amanita, and Makebo. Those were my earliest introductions to organic house and what really, really set the tone for me.
All right, so opening support versus direct support. I know you've opened for quite a few artists, so why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so first to break it down, opening support is going to be the first DJ who comes on for the night. They're gonna be lower energy, still setting up the vibe for the night, but being respectful for the direct support and ultimately the headliner. Direct support is the DJ that mixes into the opening support slot. So they're right in the middle between the opener and the headliner.
Okay. All right, so tell us who you've opened for or provided direct support for.
So some of my earliest support sets were Curion at Audio SF, Artie at Audio SF, Cubicolor at Audio SF.
General theme here?
A lot of audio shows.
A lot of good music comes into audio, yeah.
Yes. Who else? I think, and Double Touch. So I was first booked for opening support for them at Materey in San Francisco, and then they came back to, where were they? They came back to Public Works, and I was booked as direct support for the second, for my first time as direct support, second time playing before Double Touch. So that was really my introduction into direct support, and it opened up a whole new category of me.
In this segment, Pixxie opens up and discusses the struggles she had preparing for her most important direct support set to date for Sultan and Shepard in Sacramento.
So Taylor, after your set at Sultan and Shepard, and thank you for spinning Latrell, that's very rare. We appreciate that, but you made a very poignant and emotional post, and I want to read it on social media. I want to read it verbatim because I'm never going to remember this. So you say, I've been reflecting lately on curation, intention, and quality, characteristics I strive to deliver as an artist. As I continue along in my production journey, we'll talk a little bit about that later, I am witnessing the growth take effect with my DJing. So before we get, you're happy, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. I've been growing.
Funny, let's enhance on that, like growth, how much, because Dad putting a ruler right here and going from like, okay, look at Taylor grew, she's from here to here. What kind of growth do you speak of? Just having fun?
Yes, so unless you knew me closely, the preparation for that set nearly broke me. And you would never know if you were there, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. There's often a lot of self-doubt with me specifically. It's a big thing I'm working through as a human being, but especially an artist. I think I've suffered from imposter syndrome. And
We've all been there, right?
not I think, I know. I have with DJing, and now I'm facing it with production, and that's where the growth has come, is learning to trust myself, trust my intuition, and know that I am leading the way as it's meant to be musically. With the Sultan Shepard set specifically, I knew the musical vibe was more melodic than I typically would play.
Okay.
So I knew I wanted to be respectful to the genre of melodic house, like This Never Happened vibe, Sultan and Shepard, all of that. I didn't want to blow the ceiling off by playing too hard. And I found myself throughout the set preparation having, I was 90% there, getting the vibe going, and then I would divert back to an organic house track that just felt comfortable for me. Because I'm like, oh, well, this is in the right key, or I like this track. And then when I really zoomed out and examined what I had been curating for that set, I'm like, this is not the vibe. So I think you have to take your ego out of it for the sake of art. And that's what I did with it.
Well, ultimately, when you handed off the decks to Sultan and Shepard, you stepped back and you felt what?
Overjoyed. I cried after. I think you guys saw that.
Yeah, when you were back in the venue with us, you were emotional too. I'm like,
yeah, because I hold myself to a ridiculous standard, to my own fault, but also to my own benefit, I guess, depending whatever way you look at it. So I just felt so overjoyed and proud of myself that I played still me, but it was a different side of me. It wasn't organic. I don't think there was an actual organic track in there. And even though that's what resonates with my heart right now, I just learned that there's another side of me that's so much more expansive than just what I want to be making. So just hyped. I couldn't believe how many people were there. That for sure was the most people I've ever played in front of. So that was really, really special and invigorating to see.
So you have a set, you know, it's like I can fall down these rabbit holes too with an editing or something. I think it's good, then you're like, oh, no, I can do something better. I told this to the WA guys last night, specifically one artist. 90% of the people aren't worrying about your transitions, but amongst the DJ artists, you know, that little collective, you know, oh man, you nailed that transition between, you know, this song and this song. The people out there, they're just dancing, they're happy to see you up there, right? But so just play the music, people will love it, they'll love the flow. So you want to speak about the flowing versus the preparation of a set. I kind of understand that, but your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I learned something about myself with time and practice, and that's that I want a planned out set. And I think for me personally, it depends on the gig and what type of music I'm playing, the gear, all of that. I know I'm totally capable of flowing. Sometimes the set and setting is right to do that, and I know I do that well. But for me personally, to take the pressure off of myself with such a high stakes set, such as direct support, I know I want to nail my transitions. I don't want to be fumbling, wondering what I'm going to play next. I want everything to be curated and as close to perfect as I can get it. So that's where a lot of behind the scenes work goes into being a DJ. Hours of preparation, sourcing music, running through different combinations of tracks. Everything is dictated around energy level in a set. And that varies depending if you're opener or direct.
Okay, Pixxie. I have 2 important questions for you. First, I love snacks. Do you love snacks? What kind of snacks? And secondly, do you hibernate?
Hey there, Merlot. Why, yes, I do like snacks. I'm a big fan of goldfish, Cheez-Its, gummy worms, and also obsessed with charcuterie boards. Hibernate? You mean nap? Yeah, I love a good nap. Anytime I can fit one in, I'm here for it, and if I can't, I just love to get cozy on the couch with my favorite blanket and my cat.
Your cat? Cats should be outlawed.
So you said you're creating out of abundance, not necessity. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I've been hearing the message from a lot of different sources through reading. The Creative Act of Being by Rick Rubin really has moved me as an artist. And he speaks about creating out of abundance rather than scarcity, meaning there's a seat for everyone at the table. Like rising, one of my earliest mentors actually, Justin, said rising tides lift all boats. And I heard this just really resonated with me because in the beginning, I felt like I needed to, I started producing, I need to get signed, I need to do all the things, this is gonna jumpstart my career, all this. And it's like, when I really sat with that and I started doing the work, I realized there is no shortcuts in production. Because at the end of the day, it's only you that can do it. And so I had so much pressure on myself, and it did feel like a scarcity mindset in the beginning. I'm like, sure, I set really outlandish goals to play 2 tracks at a festival. 3 months after producing, yes, I did
Your
it.
first one.
Yeah. And they were fine, and they served their purpose. Was I absolutely happy with them? No. And even after that, I was like, oh, should I go back and start adding to these now that I know more? But I realized I just need to let those be. And so really, when I say creating out of abundance, it's because I want to be doing it. I want to be making the art. I want to go at my own pace. I don't want to rush through it. I want to learn things as I learn them in my own time, and really just use music as a platform and almost like a drawing board for what to showcase what I'm going through at that point in time. Just really had to take some of the pressure off of myself, and once I did, a whole new window of opportunity opened, and then the music really started flowing, funny enough.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So per YouTube rules, I am to disclose when I have a sponsor, a paid sponsor. Our mascot Merlot demanded that he sponsor this little segment, even though he only paid us in pistachio nuts. So this next little segment is sponsored by Merlot. Thanks for your patience.
All right, so DJ, producer, what are you?
I'm both.
That was blunt Patty, let me ask.
Merlot, we know you are a DJ, but do you also produce music?
Does a bear in the woods? Oh, snacks. Finally. Okay, you guys got this. It's time for a nap. Don't wake me.
So I've been DJing for about 3 years and producing for about 7 months. And I always knew once I started DJing that I eventually wanted to produce, but I was terrified. I was really, really scared to make that leap into production because there's a super steep learning curve. And as I mentioned before, there are no shortcuts. I struggle being bad at something.
Nobody likes to fail.
I know, and this is literally what learning is. It's part of the process. It's essential to the process, because without having anything to look back on, you're unable to see your progress and your growth as an artist. Thankfully, I had a mentor who I could go to for very specific questions, and he set me up with a lot of sample packs and some plugins and all of that. So I'm so grateful. I am starting to learn what sounds I like when I'm listening to music, DJing, and then now taking it a step further, production. So I can identify these sounds that resonate within my soul, really. Like when I listen to music, I'm like, what am I feeling? Then I found that I'm the most creative in the morning, first thing when I wake up. On the flip side, if I'm not feeling it, then I'm not gonna force myself to do it. And that was a lesson that I learned pretty early on when I was pushing myself so hard to get those 2 tracks finished for my set at Echo Lore. I felt like I had made a very arbitrary and unrealistic deadline. I stuck, like I just need to take a step back and put my energy elsewhere, or even just like switch tasks within, like still doing something related to production, whether that's like looking things up on YouTube or reading. I have like a few physical books about production that I've been digging into.
Going old school.
Yeah. I love a printed book. I
want to do it. I like the idea of reading. I even buy books. But these books are the most words. And it's every book. You just open it and you're like, what are you talking about? And they don't let up. Every page, just more words. How about you put some blank pages in there? Why don't you let me get my head above water for 2 seconds?
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where did you grow up? What's your hometown? What were you like as a kid?
I grew up in Ventura, California, so SoCal girl at heart. Grew up going to the beach all the time.
I could see that.
Yes. Being on boats, being on the water was a huge part of my upbringing, and still is something that really, really brings me joy. Like, I love general, but there's something very special about the beach for me.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I was a lot.
Well, you danced, I know.
Yeah, so what can I say? I love to have the spotlight on me.
Yeah, so imagine, if you will, you're in 5th grade, you're staring out at the window, out the window of the classroom. Mm-hmm. What's Taylor thinking about?
Whoa. Wow, that's
what are you
crazy.
Daydreaming about?
Like, I daydream all of the time currently, and I have been since I was a child, so this is really hard to pinpoint back then, but probably hanging out with my friends, going to the mall. Malls were really big at that point in time. This was like Britney Spears era. I would make up performances. Like, I was super into the talent show. Me and my girlfriends would choreograph these whole things and sing and all of that. The whole 9 yards.
Spotlight.
Yeah. So I loved my talent shows, and then ballet as well. 7 years of that. And 7 years of piano as well. So yeah, there's always been some form of art in my life, and being on stage, performing, I love it. As much as I get nervous about it, I love it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that will ever go away with me with the pre-show jitters, but I've heard that if you're nervous, it's because you care, and I care so deeply.
If you could go back in time, what would you want to share with young Taylor?
I would ask young Taylor to keep playing the piano and not quit after 7 years, because that would have really set future Taylor up for success. But I am grateful to her. Yeah, I would thank her and also tell her to keep going.
Well, you could always pick it up again. Just get a keyboard.
I have 2 of them.
Well, pick it up.
Yeah, that's...
Okay, so you've shared with us before that you're very grateful and you want to give back, especially to young DJs, young female DJs. So tell us some more about that.
Yeah, so I would love to have the opportunity to just share some of the tools and situations that I've navigated as a female DJ. I would love to be able to inspire others to do if they have a calling, if they want to learn. It's such a rewarding and fun thing to do, and it's a man's world. Like, it's so male dominated, and I think I'm very blessed that I've had a positive experience being a woman, and I think that really goes back to who you surround yourself with, and how you carry yourself. And I think up until this point, I've been treated with just as much as love and respect as any man in the scene, but unfortunately I have heard horror stories of some other women who haven't had that same experience. So pass on the knowledge, because it all goes back to rising tides lift all boats, and I feel like in my short amount of time I've acquired a lot of knowledge and skill, and it's just overflowing with inside of me. And yeah, I would love to just be able to give it all back.
All right, Taylor, thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed being able to interview you, and I am looking forward, all of us, looking forward to see what you do. Tell us what you're working on right now.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been great. I'm really happy that I've been able to talk with you all so intimately and share a bit more about me. So currently, my next big show is not until next year, February 14th, Valentine's Day, Romaine Garcia at Audio SF. So I am looking forward to that, but until then, I will be heads down in production. So I'm getting one track mastered right now. I think I'll have it back tomorrow. And within that time period, I finished another track because I just let the creativity flow. And so I'm getting faster. So I'm working my way up towards a release, but I want to make sure that it's the right fit and that my skills are there. So until then, I'll just be in my DAW.
More to come.
Yes.
That's a wrap.
Also,